Hello everybody and welcome to this playthrough for Pro and Expert Division with various wins. Before we have a closer look at all the content here in this video, make sure that you do hit the thumbs up button, also subscribe to the channel and turn on the notifications. Doing those three things doesn't cost you a dime and it helps the channel immensely. For those of you that do want to invest more in your game and become a better player quicker, then you can scan the QR code here on the screen or use the link that is in the description down below. Patreon.com/GoldClashTommy. And for those that are looking for more free content as well, our website goldclashtommy.com is the place where you can find loads and loads on loads of free content to learn from. Follow the info box on the right hand side to get to the club distance adjustment, elevation adjustment, also a ball and club type I suggest you to play with. Have in mind that those are all suggestions and you don't have to follow it if you don't want to, but there's always a plan behind it. So let's go to hole number one. Hole number one, we're gonna play down the right hand side using a Kingmaker with our Apocalypse, and we're gonna play with Thorn on the second shot. And you can see here now that the top spin that I'm using is going to be 6 bars, and I'm using 2 bars of right spin. The goal here is to be down the right side of the fairway, and that's why I'm not pushing it hard on the left to bounce over that bunker. But it's obviously up to you what drive you want to do here with this type of wind. The ball would then bounce on the fairway before the bunker. I'm using a little bit of right curl to push the ball more right, and especially to prevent myself from going into the bunker on the left if I do hit a great left. Bounces on the fairway, rolls down nicely, and now we are in a good position to play with our Thorn on the second shot. Because the Thorn here on the second shot, when we played this in the tournament recently, we had a very nice backspin shot here using all the backspin and 0.8 right spin. There is a nice little spot going behind the pin there, which is definitely something that I do feel is going to be the recommended play. Max backspin and then the 0.8 right spin ball guideline to the hole. The only difference is when we're playing so much backspin, I'm going to have to play with a lot of elevation. So here I'm playing medium distance with a 50% elevation, and that elevation could be different depending on what type of wind direction you have and how far or close you are towards the pin. But the idea we have here is to get past the pin, roll back, and obviously then drop it for an eagle. So in the end, we're getting a we're getting a nice eagle to start with on hole one. For hole number two, we're gonna play an NMT, meaning that we are not touching our target until it's time to adjust the rings. I would say if having a crosswind and a tailwind, this way of approaching the drive is definitely the best way. But in headwind, we do recommend to play with a driver with more power, as otherwise you will have to play with a lot of overpower. Max plus 20. Using 3 topspin and a little bit of left spin. All the parts combined here. The goal is to get ourselves as far up the fairway possible and being as close to the rough on the right without obviously endangering rolling in to the rough there on the right side. Now we are positioned perfectly with our Kingmaker to attack the pin for the second shot. Now, second shot, we do have a crosswind. I would recommend to use approximately 2 bars of topspin, and then we're going to look for the second bounce into the rough with the ball guideline pointing towards the hole. And you can see that there, ball guideline is not pointing towards the hole, it's actually going into the hole. 10% elevation, and then it's true club distance number. Here I am not exactly sure, but I do adjust around 9 rings for this shot. Center the ball and hit perfect, and a perfect ball here will give us a decent chance for an albatross here on hole number 2. I would say hole number 2 here is not going to be a must drop, but it's going to be a possibility, which is what we're looking for on hole 2. Even if you would be having a straight tailwind of T, we recommend to not go over the water and the rough, because that will most likely end up to be a harder position to attack the pin than what we do have here, playing a shorter, simpler drive and then the sniper towards the pin on the second shot. Hole number 3, we are looking to play with a ball that you have somewhere with wind about 7 to 8 miles per hour. And this is going to be the Kingslayer for me, starting at the top of +3 with the blue ring by the rough line. Now we're going to apply spin, which is going to be 1 right spin and 3.5 bar of backspin. Maximum distance with a 20% over adjustment is what we're gonna do, and as we are pulling from a lower to a higher point, and we are going to fly a little bit longer than what the landing position shows. And that is something that is very important to have in mind here, that if you do have any wind coming left to right, we will always pull up to a higher point, such as if we do have a wind coming right to left and we pull down into the bunker, we'll pull to a lower point and therefore we will lose distance instead. And those type of things is important to have in mind when you're dialing in a shot like this, because the spins will then be crucial to be positioned in a correct way, so we can compensate for either flying a little bit longer or flying a little bit shorter. In the end though, this is a par 3 with a good chance for an hole-in-one. For hole number 7, we do have a very favorable wind, and we are going to try to get the ball to green, or at least close to green for a wedge. Here, even if we do have a luminary here for display, you can play this one with literally any power 5 ball. It's the power 5 that is the key. So if you do not have any P5 side spin 2, win 2 or win 3 ball, then you go with a berserker instead. Stretch out to max, visualize having bullseye centered on the rough patch between the bunkers. Adjust max +10 for a POC 5+. We're not gonna push up anything. When it comes to a POC 4, we are pushing up 6 yards or 1.7 rings. The ball will then clip the rough after using max overpower with a slow needle, and we are getting ourselves to be just by the green, and now it's a super simple wedge to lock in the eagle. Take your game to the next level with our Ultimate Tournament Text Guide for Expert and or Master Division. The Ultimate Tournament Text Guides and all our premium guides can be accessed via our platform on Patreon via the link patreon.com/golfclashtommy in the description down below, or you scan the QR code here on the screen. President's Cup is coming up. We have a full 9 of the Maple Bay to play. We will dig in doing free-to-play ball options and pay ball options for Expert and Master for you to be able to follow. For us, it is important that you as a user with us, with the free guides or the paid guides, doesn't really matter, but it is important for us that you feel that you are improving your game. That's our goal with everything we are doing. In the end, it doesn't matter what we ourselves are shooting in tournaments, how much win percentage we have in tour play. That really doesn't matter in the end. What matters is, can we improve your game? And we have shown that for years now. I'm going into almost my 6th year, or it has been 6 years in December, of improving and helping thousands and thousands of players. So if you do want to join the largest guide community for premium guides, which also objectively is seen easily by far the best guides on the market and the best guide service on the market, then you sign up and try it for yourself. You can try 30 days and see for yourself. You don't have to continue if you don't want to, but scan the QR code or use the link in the description down below. For the drive on hole number 3, here we are going to stretch out to max with bullseye to be centered on the fairway, and this goes with a power 5 ball. You don't necessarily have to play with a luminary, but obviously as that ball is possible to get for free in the game, it's a good ball to have and to use. Once stretched out to max with a bullseye on the fairway, we release our target, then we make an adjustment that is max +10 P5. And then we are going to go with 1 left spin as a spin, and we'll go 100% max with a slightly slower needle with a POC 5 plus. For a POC 4, we are going to push up to max, and then it's obviously going to be a max shaky needle. Now, on the second shot, we're using 0.8 backspin, and we're going to look to have approximately 1/4 of the yellow ring to overlap the rough line. The check we're doing is the top of white ring pin check. And you can see that with the top white ring just barely touching the pin. 24% slider with 5% elevation, P3 numbers from P5 numbers, not P3, from +8, +7 and +8. Favor 1159 here with your pull angle. If having any 1201, you do have a risk of missing the rough with your first bounce, and that's just so unnecessary to put yourself into that position. We have wind angle tweaks on the second shot here, and obviously that is listed in the guide. Hits the rough, rolls dead center for a lovely albatross here on hole number 3. First and foremost, you do not have to play with a Wind 5 ball here if you don't want to, but I'm using the Wind 5 ball here in the info box to display the ball that I'm playing with on this shot here. 2.2 backspin and 1 right spin. I'm looking in this instance to have the ball guideline. You can see I'm having half of the red ring outside on the fairway, and then we do have the tip of the ball guideline falling 1 green square short and 1 green square left of the pin. Medium distance with a 20% over adjustment is what we're having here, and the goal here is obviously to hit the rough and to roll out at the pin. And the thing to have in mind with this shot is that it may look very risky, and playing a rough bump like this is obviously having a risk involved. But what do we have to choose between? We can either then bounce on the fairway with a long iron, which is gonna require a lot of curl, and that's going to be like a birdie as best many of the times, or we can use a club with a lot of backspin and aim on the green, maybe use a backspin boost ball or something like that, which is a possibility as well. Then we would be require a wind ball there too. So there is other opportunities, but I do believe that from experience playing this hole, the rough bump is most definitely the best chance we do have for a drop. Comes in lovely though, catch that little groove and rolls dead center for an hole-in-one. Hole number 7, another very good chance for a drop in my opinion. I'm playing an MNT. I'm going to play on this little fairway island where the club is open up on. I'm using, in this case, 5.5 bar top spin and 3 left spin. Adjustment is going to be max +10. And once we have adjusted the max +10, we are most definitely then going to use some left curl, because we do want to prevent ourselves from rolling into the rough on the right hand side. You can see here I'm using half a ball of left curl in the end. If you do have a tailwind off tee here, meaning more tailwind than what you do have crosswind, there is a way of actually getting to green in 1, which is a recommended way on approaching, because you can see how the green slopes uphill there. So even if you come in a little bit hot, there is a big chance of the ball roll up and falls down, and then you have an easy putt, or just have a wedge or something like that, which is definitely going to be easier to drop than having a short iron from distance. Now, on the second shot, we're going to use all the right spin possible here, or at least that's what I would go based on having the bunker as far away from play possible. Even if I'm using 2 right spin here, I would think that 3 right spin would in general be better, especially if you have a tendency of hitting great rights and stuff like that. I do feel still that based on where we bounce, it's not going to be any problems, but it's easier to use all the spins here and just remove all the risk instead of just having a tiny risk, in my opinion. 10% elevation, true club distance number, and we're getting this one to drop dead center for an eagle on hole number 7. So Once again, to summarize, if you do have a tailwind off tee that is more tailwind than crosswind, you can drive the green using a power 5 ball. You can also lay up in any wind, and you will still have regardless what wind direction you have, you will have a short arm towards the pin, and that should still be rewarding you an easy eagle. Hole number 6 has always been a tough par 3 in my opinion, and here you can play with any power 0 to 3 ball, side spin 2 plus, wind 3 or wind 4 ball. Gonna start by setting spins, 3.8 backspin, 2 left spin, and what's not shown here in on the replay is that we're using our target at P5 in min line. So start with a power 5 ball to find min line, blue ring to the left by the sand, pack the grizzly to easier find the min line as well. Once you have found the spot, we are swapping to a P0 to P3 ball with the stats that I already explained. The reason we need to swap to that is because otherwise we will pull into min club. Adjust max plus 15 power 3 ball, and then obviously wind angle based off what wind angle you have, or like wind angle tweaks based off what wind angle you have. Gets down onto the green, dead center drop here, and hole number 6, a tough par 3. For hole number 9, we're gonna play down on the right hand side. If we do have a headwind in any form, we're gonna play with the rock. If we do have a crosswind or a tailwind, I would recommend to play with the quarterback instead. And we're gonna use all the side spin here with our kingmaker and using 4 bars of topspin. The goal here is to get the ball to be as far down the fairway possible, because that will allow us to attack the pin on the second shot in a positive way. Adjust no elevation, maximum distance number, and then we're gonna apply curl to the right, which is gonna be 1 to 1.5 ball depending on what wind direction we do have. And if we do have a wind right to left, I would recommend to use a little bit more, due to that wind will push the ball more left than what we want to. And you can see here we bounce down very nicely on the fairway, and now we are to around 350 yards. We want to be around 350 to 360 to attack the pin in a nice way with our sniper on the second shot. So now we're gonna attack the pin here with our sniper using 1 topspin ball guideline to be short of hole. Have in mind that this green is a bit deceiving, and what I mean with that is that it comes in hotter than what it shows us to do. So you often have to leave the ball guideline way shorter than what it normally needs, and that has always been a difficult part for me, because I'm so trained on where I should be putting my ball guideline to be the best possible rollout with the specific clubs, but this hole definitely changes that big time. 10% elevation, then whatever slider you deem it would be. It could be all from 75% to 100% of your club. A great ball to the left here is obviously not what we want, and you will notice here that a great to the left is gonna miss on the left as well, with a perfect ball gonna be very close for a drop, estimated based on how much a great left there missed. But hole number 9, tough one to end up with an albatross on, but definitely makeable. Thank you so much everybody for watching this playthrough for Pro and Expert division here with various wins. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. Also make sure to hit the thumbs up button before you leave. Scan the QR code here on the screen, or use the link patreon.com/golfclashtommy that is in the description down below. That will take you to our premium guides where you can subscribe and start improving your game today. Thank you once again for watching. I wish you the best of luck in your Golf Clash game.